into the lion's den. Is this police investigation tape the turning point in what seemed like a trial on a downward slope for the prosecution? With the detective saying if you're jumping out of your car and following him, that's not fear, that's following. Starting with Cheryl Lee Ralph, actress and author of Redefining Diva.
Let me tell you something. I think all of us who heard that know that we heard following. He was told distinctly, we don't need you to do that. But he continued to do that because these blanks always get away with it. It was following.
Frank Taffy, former neighbor George Zimmerman's and friend and supporter. Frank! All right, let's go to Heather Hansen. I asked you a question, dude. Usually, you don't want to stop talking, and now I asked you a question. You don't want to talk, but
no,
I want to hear.
I couldn't hear you.
Okay, all right, well, I'm asking you, is this a turning point for a trial many thought was on a downward slope for the prosecution? Now we have Chris Serino grilling your buddy, saying, why are you getting out of the car and following him? That's not fear, that's following, and I want to give you a chance to weigh in.
Sure. He was the eyes and ears of Neighborhood Watch. It's written right in the handbook. And it is a turning point. It turns this into a stronger case for the defense than it does for the prosecution.
Why? And maybe I'll throw that to Heather Hansen.
I agree with Fred. I think that it turns it into a stronger case because if you're asking the question at the end of a prosecution day whether or not this was a stronger day for the prosecution or the defense, there's a problem. I think O'Mara's cross-examination of Serino pointed out a lot of things. Serino said that either he's a pathological liar or he was telling the truth. I don't think this jury is going to believe that he was a pathological liar. I think that Zimmerman, the minor inconsistencies between the three different interrogations are just that minor. I think his story stays the same through all three without Miranda, without attorney. He is telling the same story.
Reva Martin, attorney.
Jane, this issue of following is critical, and this was a great day for the prosecution because their whole case is that this guy's a wannabe cop who's out there doing something he shouldn't be doing, not following the directions of the 911 dispatcher, and now we have him on tape being told not to do anything, but yet he is following, and following is following. We can't redefine that. So his whole theory about he's in fear is absolutely ridiculous. There's no fear if you get out of your car and follow someone. You're not
Heather,
afraid.
a quick rebuttal, and then we got to go back into court. Heather.
It's a different point in time. The self-defense law applies to the point in time where Zimmerman filed that shot. Whether or not he followed him is really irrelevant. It's what Zimmerman was feeling at the moment that he was getting his head beat into the concrete. This is under the law.
Why did you say, oh my God, Cheryl
Had
Lee
he
Ralph?
not been following him, had he not been following him, and he done what he had been told, it would not have happened. We don't need you to do that. He got out of his car. He followed him. My God, if he had been a child, we would have chastised him for not paying.